this episode, Travelogue takes you to Macau, an island filled with endless discoveries. Find out what makes this Chinese city tick with its unique Portuguese charm and explore the UNESCO World Heritage Sites. A paradise for foodies, Macau has even thrills and spills for adrenaline junkies. Come and enjoy this splendid city. You have no idea what to expect when you land in Macau. That's because things are not the same. This traveler's hotspot is not just a perfect getaway, but a city of endless discoveries. A nibble of the edge with just 20 square kilometers in landmass, every inch seems to be devoted to your leisure and entertainment.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Macau. The local time now is 20 minutes past 12 in the afternoon and temperature is 25.
Macau is viewed by an affluent new generation in Asia and has progressed at lightning speed. With its luxury hotels, shopping, entertainment, and culinary experiences reaching world-class heights, business travelers, families, lovers, and adventure city junkies flock here for their next fix.
With just over 500,000 citizens inhabiting the island of Macau, this tiny special administrative region of China is truly unique. Now, it's under the one country, two systems rule, and it's kept most of its old European historical buildings, which has even made it into the UN Heritage List. I can't wait to check it out.
邊度好玩嘅，好睇嘅？
第十巴，
睇實花，
第三巴，
第三巴係啊，好出名㗎，係咪？等你自己喺呢度出生嘅。
Portuguese and Chinese may be the official language here, but Cantonese is the real deal. When it comes to cabbies, it might be the luck of the draw. We start our journey from the southernmost tip of this island. One look at the DNA of Macau, and you know why it's so special. It has distinct Chinese roots, and it's heavily influenced by the arrival of Portuguese in the early 1500s, creating a cultural identity unlike any other in this world.
甘子と呼ばれてます。本物の違うですからね。だからちょっと逆になります。
Now, this is one of the most important places in Macau. It's the start of the historical center, and you really want to just come in and take in all the sights and sound because it gives you a real flavor of what traditional Macau is like.
Fishermen from Fujian and farmers from Guangdong provinces were the first known settlers. The Portuguese first arrived in the 16th century at this spot, and soon after, Macau became a major trading hub between China and the rest of the world. The sea was vital to its growth and prosperity. Indeed, Ama Temple, located at the base of a seaside hill and dating back to the Ming Dynasty, which ended some 500 years ago, is a tribute to the goddess of seafarers.
Tribute to Ama, the goddess of fishermen, and you know, this temple stood here witnessing the arrival of Portuguese ships in 1555. And what's really amazing is that Amagao literally means Bay of Ama, and that's how Macau actually got its name. And you can tell just how important this place is to the locals.
Macau is rich with historical and cultural buildings, some of which have made it to the UNESCO World Heritage List. The Portuguese influence is very pronounced throughout the island, and Catholicism has also left its mark. This city is heaven for history buffs. The historical center of Macau is an urban area within the old city, and you can begin your walking tour here in Senado Square. Inspired by architectural design of Portugal, this square is one of the most famous spots in Macau. and the fountain is classically constructed to mimic a globe used by pioneering Portuguese seamen.
This is Macau's main square, and if you look down, this tiles a wave-like pattern that is shaped in a mosaic-like way, and it's brought in by the Portuguese. And that is the IACM building. When the Portuguese arrived about 400 years ago, they built that as a governmental building. And if you just look around, this place looks like little Portugal.
Macau has also exquisitely preserved its European architecture. For over 400 years, it has blossomed through the continued cultural exchange between the East and the West. Today, the historical center proudly bears the badge as one of the oldest pieces of European history kept intact in most Chinese territory today. As you can imagine, this picturesque town is proud of its unique architecture, and the wave-like pattern literally transport you back to the streets of Portugal. When it comes to charity, Macau is a real giver. The Holy House of Mercy houses historical items and religious art which reflect the meeting of different cultures. But interestingly, this place, often mistaken for a government office, is in fact a charitable organization.
There's a real sober atmosphere here. You just listen to the music. You feel like you're in an old Catholic church. Now, this is called the Holy House of Mercy, and it's one of the oldest and most prominent charitable organizations in Portugal. And it's also responsible for founding the first Western-style clinic in Macau.
The St. Joseph Seminary and Church planted its roots here in 1758. It was a base for missionary work undertaken in China and in the surrounding region. Its architecture is Baroque in style, and it's a classic favorite among the locals. I spoke to this elder who recollected fond memories of regularly heading to church as a young boy, and he sits here almost every afternoon to just people watch. If you walk further up the path, the unexpected turn will take you to a famous food street filled with delectable Macanese delights. From dried meat to their very own homemade almond cookies, the food here reflects Macau's multicultural history and cosmopolitan life. Food is, after all, what Macau is most famous for.
하나 더 시식 괜찮네요. 맛있어요. 네. 혹시 컵버드 남자 봤어요? 네, 여기서 지으세요. Delicious.
Are you good? Thank you. It's okay. It's good. You make yourself a free meal just by walking through the street. Apparently this is one of Macau's speciality. You just see the sliced barbecue pork everywhere you go. You must really like it. There's sweet, there's salty, there's all kinds of flavor as well. Let's check out what we have over here. This is what is it? Haktima. It's like black sesame with peanut. 自己做㗎? Oh. Oh, good. Really sweet, crunchy, and very good source of protein. Such an activity, a bus, especially when it comes to food, everyone gets really excited. Ôi, có ăn dầm bánh à? Ăn dầm bánh à? Cái bên à? Ăn dầm bánh. Ở đây lấy ăn gì à? Đây có cả. Không có gì cả. Oh wow, fresh from the pot. This is freshly baked. This is you. Give your hand like fortune. It's like fortune, isn't it? Number one. Number one. All right, I'll try it then. Oh, okay. It's actually really good. I think because it's just been freshly baked, you can really sense that this really it's like it melts in your mouth and it crumbles. If you really want to understand all about Macau, then you have to go way back in time. I'm retracing the very steps taken some 400 years ago by Catholic priests walking up to St. Paul's Church. Now what remains standing today is the facade of St. Paul. It just tells you when the seeds of cultural fusion were first sown. Voila, the most iconic site in Macau.
These are the ruins of St. Paul's. You have to give it to the Macanese for preserving this piece of history so well that it's flanked by visitors every day. There is even a small museum at the back, which gives you a snapshot of what the church used to be. But perhaps the facade itself, with a Chinese dragon, inscription, and Japanese chrysanthemum, tells an even more interesting story of how a church in Asia looked during that time.
Lots of people here, even on a Monday, but it's easy to see why, because it's such a sight to behold.
Most people have seen the front, but not the back of St. Paul's. I highly recommend you take the time to check out the museum at the back, which houses important historical artifacts and paintings. Curiously, there is a gem of a Chinese temple built on land that is owned by the Jesuits. This speaks volumes about the religious plurality that exists in Macau and the racial and religious harmony that has been nurtured here for centuries. You can conveniently walk to the temple, which is right next to the ruins of St. Paul.
This temple is actually built in the late 19th century, and it's sitting on land that's owned by the Jesuits, who also own St. Paul's. I think this shows how accepting Macau is of just different religions coexisting together.
Macau might be tiny, but it's teeming with historical and cultural diversity. The narrow streets and charming squares paint a picture of two major communities, namely the Chinese and Portuguese. And nowhere is it better explained than here at the Macau Museum. Here's the key to understanding how a city of the East absorbed many facets of the West and ultimately carved out its very own character. And it's located at Mount Fort.
I've learned a lot about Macau's history at the museum. Now, this fortress was built in 1617, and it's a quicker and easier way to get here via the museum, but it costs just a little bit more instead of trekking up the hill. But whichever way you choose to get here, it's well worth the view.
For the perfect photo op, head straight up to Mount Fortress. It's perched on a hilltop to the east of the ruins of St. Paul's. This was also the first residence of the governors of Macau. But Father Time lent his hands, and decades later, trees grew from the platform of the fort. It then transformed into a public park. From one fort to the next, we head to Gear Lighthouse, which is Gear Fort's most prominent feature. You can even hike up to the hilltop.
Gear Lighthouse is one of the oldest along the China coast, and it's also sitting on the highest point on the Macau Peninsula. And back in the days when there was a fire that happened right in the neck of the woods, before surveillance cameras was around, the lighthouse would be the first one to spot it, ring the alarm, and alert the city. I think it really serves a dual function, just taking care of Macau's bay and protecting the citizens.
Standing here at the lighthouse really makes me feel amorous. It's a place that seems to have nostalgia lingering in the air. Well, from nostalgia to adventure. Get ready to switch gears and go full steam ahead. Feeling adventurous now? For adrenaline junkies, hit the Macau Tower and jump off it. Why? Because it's a bungee jump, and there's a tamer version called the sky jump and also tower climbs for the less daring. It's one of the modern marvels at Macau and one of the most advanced towers on the planet. But one look at the jumper ready to plunge and I'm pretty sure I'll stay on the sidelines. This is really for the lion-hearted, and I applaud anyone out there who has the guts to do this. The crew who works at the bungee jump have to do this as a pre-job requisite. Can you imagine? Thankfully, I have my feet on the ground.
Sorry to interrupt, but we saw you jumping. What about you? I mean, it was crazy. Like, how did it feel? Because I would never have A, the stupidity, or B, the courage and the guts to do it.
It's yeah, it's pretty scary. It's terrifying right on the edge. But as soon as you jump and you feel the bungee cord take up, it all feels really good.
How many seconds did you feel? You know, you were gonna die? Oh, pure terror.
Yeah, no, pure terror is about there for the first two seconds, but the 2 seconds lasts about a minute. It feels like it lasts a minute. So yeah.
I know we were all like just watching you there getting ready, and that just seems, I don't know. I don't know how you can will yourself to just go. I think you deserve that bottle of beer. Well done.
Thank you.
I'm very proud of you. This is where you get high on life at the Macau Tower. Now their motto is, why live on the edge when you can jump off? This is the highest commercial bungee jump. And for you adrenaline junkies out there, this is the ultimate. I am starving. Let's have some family-style Portuguese cuisine.
The restaurant Espejo Lisboa is run by Francesco Cruz and his business partner. It's located at the southern tip of Coloane Island. A small family-styled restaurant, it's famous for its authentic Portuguese food. And we head to his kitchen to investigate.
He's the chef.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Greta.
I'm Henry.
Henry, all right. So how many years of experience do you have cooking in the
She's
kitchen?
around 20 years.
20 years of experience. Wow.
Then if the blood is almost cooked, we're going to put lemon. To the taste also.
Pinch of lemon never goes wrong with seafood, does it?
It's, and then after you finish, when it goes to the table, one thing that we normally do is we get the bread and we soak the bread into the sauce.
Yes. What is the national dish for Portugal?
The national dish is this one.
That's a big national dish.
And then you can make it, prepare this in different ways. Boiled, grilled, stuffed, with cream. There are 1,001 ways of doing this
There's
fish,
so much
according to them.
passion in this fish.
This is a fish that is part of every table, special in one time of the year, is Christmas time.
Right, so this looks like you can feed a family of like 10.
Yeah.
It's a huge fish.
When the Portuguese arrived in Macau in the 16th century, they cooked using their own methods but with local ingredients in the surrounding regions. Over time, through the fusion of Portuguese and Cantonese cooking styles, a new Macanese cuisine emerged. As such, you have a wider variety of foods to choose from.
Red from the south of Portugal, and you are going to enjoy. On the starters, we have some Portuguese sausage, roasted, and then we have some clams in a white wine sauce. This one, or we can put it now for you to taste it. And our ancestors, the Macanese, used to say that the foreigners that come to Macau and go to that fountain and drink the water from that fountain will never go back to their own place. And I drink from that water.
The cup that runneth over.
Yeah.
Well, look at you right now. I mean...
The Mandarin House is one of the 22 architectural legacies of this city. It's also one of the few sites on the UNESCO World Heritage List that is a typical Qing Dynasty-style compound. It's a rare gem of a find here amongst all other European-style architecture. If you look closely at the details of the interior, there are plenty of clues that show a Western-influenced design. It's a must-see, a living embodiment of Macau's historical past. Macau's openness to different cultures has established one of Asia's most peculiar and unique cities. This city of fusion retains strong Chinese roots despite the evolution of a Macanese style.
This was once a home of a prominent Chinese literary figure called Zheng Guanyin, and he wrote his critically acclaimed masterpiece, Words of Warning in Times of Prosperity, right here in his residential compound. Sounds pretty daunting and sobering, doesn't it? Well, that's because if you've got Mao Zedong and Sun Yat-sen as one of your fans, you know you made it in the big time. The Mandarin home has essentially the characteristics of a Guangdong design, but it also uses other architectural ideas from different cultures. Take this for example. This is a French window and it's in the middle of the main hall. And in the past, they used to just cast their eyes over to the interior harbor, and since Macau is ever-changing, the scenery is different now. Before I came to this Mandarin house, I thought it would be just like any Chinese courtyard, but actually I'm pleasantly surprised at its splendid architectural design. You know, everything looks really genuine and it's well restored. And check this out, this is the shrine of the Earth God. Really, really classy. It's actually, if I remember correctly, exists in most Macau buildings. It says, 生财生子. Something's never changed. You pray for good fortune and lots of kids. Maybe I should pray to of God. Thanks.
The locals here are very friendly. All you have to do is to step out of your comfort zone and have a chat with them. I even met a lady who is a descendant of the legendary Zheng Guanyin. Chances are, you'll be making your very own interesting discoveries. Macau is also a sparkling after-dark destination. Night owls, local and faraway travelers make a vibrant scene. Wining and dining along the sea is taken for granted on this island. If you want to take it easy after the sun goes down, then head out to Fisherman's Wharf. Kick back and enjoy an unforgettable night and be wooed by international singers who color Macau's after hours.
This is Fisherman's Wharf and we're standing all on reclaimed land. It's a theme park with bars, restaurants, clubs, and also karaoke. Now, shall I say that Macau is ever-changing or ever-expanding?
Besides being a foodie's paradise, Macau is also a sexy destination for couples looking to tie the knot. Landscape gardens and iconic landmarks have drawn many a bride and groom to pose for cameras here. They come for the romance, and romance they get. In turn, these lovebirds add an extra dash of elegance and class to one of Asia's most exciting cities. I did not expect to fully embrace the rush of this city, but it awakened something deep inside, or perhaps the lights have brightened my soul.
My senses have been ignited by Macau's nightlife, and it's also been soothed at the same time by this calm breeze. Now, if you're in Hong Kong, you can hop on a ferry, and it just takes you about 1 hour to get here. If you've got any insatiable human desire, Macau can fulfill it for you, so make sure you don't miss out.
Small and compact, Macau has most of what you need just round the corner. Vestige from the past, the world's most luxurious brands, culinary delights, most are conveniently located next to each other. It's a perfect place to discover by foot, and it's hard not to stumble upon this, the statue of Guan Yin, a goddess who blends different faiths. With an Eastern and Western design, it's a perfect ambassador of Macau.
I've had a great time in Macau. This Chinese city has a distinct Portuguese style, just like that statue over there. That's Guan Yin, the goddess of mercy, and she's been given a European touch, one that the Macanese seem to embrace fully. I've learned so much about cultural adaptation and appreciation, so the next time when you're in Macau, make sure you plan at least a week's worth of visit, because it's worth so much more. I'm Greta Georges, and this has been Travelogue.